The dingy bar on the outer ring of Nexus Station wasn't much to look at. Yellow lighting cast sickly shadows across the metal walls, and the air hung heavy with the smell of engine oil, alien sweat, and cheap synthetic alcohol. Valgar, leader of the Dryan mercenary squad, lifted his drink with scaled gray fingers, the liquid sloshing in the scratched metal cup as his eyes swept over the other patrons. "Seems like we got ourselves quite the offer," he rumbled, his voice low enough that only his three companions could hear. He placed a data chip on the table, its holographic display flickering to reveal a substantial sum. Triple our usual rate. Eliminating a group of human insurgents disrupting a trade route in the Viridian sector. Arcessa is his second in command, and the only Inzarian in the group, remained expressionless. Her silver-streaked skin caught the bar's poor lighting as she leaned forward. "What's the catch?" "No catch," Valgar replied. "Just humans." Across the table, the young Kilratha recruit named Sevex perked up, his feline ears twitching with interest. "Humans? That's it," he scoffed, sharp teeth glinting. "The galaxy's most overrated species. Thin skin, no natural armor, mediocre strength. Easy pickings." Kuldorn, their Sihilin weapons specialist, scratched his armored belly with a massive three-fingered hand. "Pays good." "Too good," he growled suspiciously. "Exactly why we should take it," Sevex insisted, leaning forward eagerly. "We eliminate a few soft-skinned primates and collect a fortune. What's there to deliberate?" The conversation paused as the bartender approached. Bronek was ancient, even by the standards of his long-lived species. The old Zendari wiped the table with a cloth that might once have been white, his four eyes blinking independently as he glanced at the holographic display. "You planning to take that contract?" he asked, voice rasping like metal on stone. Valgar raised an eyebrow ridge. "Maybe. Why do you care, old one?" Bronek's upper eyes narrowed. "Because someone should tell you rule number one." "And what's that?" Sevex asked with thinly veiled contempt. "Never take contracts against human special forces." The young Kilratha rolled his eyes. "More superstitious nonsense." "Not superstition," Bronek hissed, leaning closer. "Survival." His lower set of eyes swiveled toward the darkest corner of the bar. "Ask Ravan over there." Arcessa followed his gaze to a huddled figure nursing a drink. Even in the dim light, she could make out the outline of a missing arm, the stump ending just below the shoulder. "Who's Gravan?" "The only survivor of the Taraxis 7, Bronek said solemnly. "Last mercenary squad stupid enough to go up against human special forces." Kuldorn grunted. "Heard about them. Tough crew. 20 elite fighters. All dead, supposedly." "Not all," Bronek corrected. "Gravan lived. Though sometimes I wonder if he wishes he hadn't." Sevex scoffed. "One failure doesn't make humans invincible." "It wasn't failure," came a raspy voice from the shadows. The figure stood and approached, moving with a pronounced limp. As he came into the light, collective breaths caught. Gravan was a Forlac, a species known for their regenerative abilities and resilience. Yet his face was a map of scars that hadn't healed properly. His missing arm wasn't the only permanent damage. A prosthetic leg whirred softly as he moved, and one eye had been replaced with a crude optical implant that glowed faintly red. "It was annihilation," he said, pulling up a chair uninvited. "And a lesson." Valgar studied him closely. "We're listening." Gravan took a long drink, emptying his glass before speaking again. "It was a simple job. At least, that's what we thought. Break into a human research facility, steal some data, get out. 20 of the best mercenaries credits could buy." "What went wrong?" Arcessa asked. "Everything." Gravan's voice hardened. "The moment we breached the perimeter, I knew something was off. It was too easy. No alarms, minimal security. We should have turned back then." "But you didn't," Valgar observed. "Greed makes fools of us all." Gravan signaled Bronek for another drink. "We made it to the central lab without resistance." Then the lights went out. The bar seemed to grow quieter. Other conversations hushed as Gravan's story pulled in more listeners. First, they took the rear guards. No shots, no sounds. Just gone. Then the scouts. By the time we realized what was happening, We were already surrounded, though we couldn't see them. Human Special Forces, Kuldor murmured. Gravan nodded. 5 of them against our 20. Should have been no contest. His artificial eye flickered. And it wasn't. Just not in the way you'd think. How did you survive? Arcessa inquired, her voice barely audible. Played dead, Gravan admitted with no shame. Took a shot to the chest, collapsed near an air duct. Watched through half-closed eyes as they dismantled our squad. What makes them so deadly? Valgar pressed. Humans lack natural advantages. Their physical attributes are unremarkable. Gravan laughed bitterly. That's what everyone thinks. Their bodies aren't the weapon. Their minds are. They're predators disguised as prey. He leaned forward, lowering his voice. They use psychological warfare like no species I've encountered. They deliberately leave evidence of kills to terrify survivors. Move silently in perfect coordination without verbal commands. Employ wolfpack tactics, isolating targets one by one. Sevix shifted uncomfortably. Advanced technology, then? Yes and no. Their gear is impressive. Thermal masking, long-range precision weapons, optical camouflage. But it's how they use it that matters. Gravan tapped his temple. They think differently. Other species fight with instinct or training. Humans fight with calculated savagery. Exaggeration, Sevix muttered, but with less conviction. The commander, Gravan continued as if he hadn't heard, left me alive deliberately. Crouched beside me when I was bleeding out, knew I was conscious. Said only one thing. Tell the others. Silence fell over the table. Even Sevix seemed sobered. That's why I'm telling you. Gravan stood, his prosthetic leg whirring. Take any contract you want. Fight any enemy in the galaxy. But if humans, especially their special forces, are involved, walk away. As he turned to leave, Gravan reached into his pocket and tossed something onto the table. It landed with a metallic clink in front of Valgar. A small, weathered patch. Black fabric with a skull insignia and words in the human language. What does it say? Kuldor asked, squinting at the unfamiliar script. Arcessa, who had studied human languages, read aloud. We are the ones who knock. Valgar studied the emblem thoughtfully. I appreciate the warning, Gravan. We'll consider it. After the scarred veteran limped away, Sevix leaned forward eagerly. You're not actually listening to that cripple, are you? This is a fortune waiting for us. Triple our usual rate. I don't like it, Arcessa stated firmly. The payment is disproportionate to the supposed threat. Something's wrong. I agree, Valgar nodded. We should decline. Sevix's tail lashed in irritation. This is ridiculous. We're turning down the contract of a lifetime because of ghost stories. Better scared than dead. Kuldor rumbled, surprising the others with his caution. Fine, Sevix hissed, standing abruptly. I need some air. Think this through, Valgar. We're not passing up this opportunity because some has-been couldn't handle a few humans. As the young Kilratha stalked away, Arcessa leaned toward their leader. He's impulsive. He's young, Valgar sighed. He'll learn. If he lives long enough, Bronek muttered, collecting their empty glasses. What none of them noticed was Sevix in the corridor outside, already connecting to the contract broker, his eyes gleaming with ambition as he accepted the down payment on behalf of the team. The next morning, Valgar discovered what Sevix had done. The young Kilratha stood defiant before his furious commander in their ship's common area. You had no authority, Valgar roared, his scales darkening with anger. I had initiative, Sevix countered. The Transaurian Syndicate has already transferred 10%. Backing out now would destroy our reputation. Kuldor cracked his knuckles menacingly. Better our reputation than our lives. We took an oath when we formed this team. Arcessa reminded them coldly. All contracts require unanimous approval. Unanimous approval for safe, boring jobs that barely cover fuel costs, Sevix spat. This is different. This is our chance to be legendary. Or dead, Valgar growled. Like the Taraxis 7. Sevix's ears flattened. I don't believe those stories. If humans were so dangerous, they'd rule the galaxy. They don't. They're a minor power at best. Before Valgar could respond, their ship's communication system chimed. The Transaurian representative appeared on screen, a smiling humanoid with metallic skin. Valgar's Vanguard, the representative purred. I'm pleased you've accepted our contract. We've noted the initial payment transfer. The remainder will be released upon confirmation of mission success. Valgar shot Sevex a murderous glare before addressing the screen. There seems to be a misunderstanding. We haven't formally. Your team member assured us of your commitment. The Transaurian interrupted, smile never wavering. We've already informed our stakeholders. Cancellation at this stage would be unfortunate for your reputation, for your future prospects. The threat hung in the air. The Transaurian Syndicate controlled a significant portion of the mercenary job market. Being blacklisted by them would mean financial ruin. We'll need more details on the target, Valgar said finally, ignoring Arcessa's look of disapproval. Excellent. The representative's smile widened. The human outpost is located on Meridian 9, a former mining colony in the Viridian sector. Intelligence suggests a small team, perhaps 5 to 7 operators. They've been disrupting our supply lines for weeks. Eliminate them and recover any data storage devices you find. After the transmission ended, silence filled the ship's common area. You've doomed us, Arcessa said quietly to Sevex. I've elevated us, the young Kilratha insisted. When we succeed where others failed, our reputation will soar. If, Kuldorn grunted, if we succeed, Valgar sighed heavily. Prepare for departure. We have no choice now. As they set course for Meridian 9, tension permeated the ship. Valgar spent hours studying what little information existed about human special forces. Arcessa calibrated her perception enhancers, devices that would help her detect changes in air pressure from movement. Kuldorn cleaned his heavy weapons with particular care. Only Sevex maintained his enthusiasm, checking and rechecking his combat gear with eager anticipation. 3 days later, their ship touched down on Meridian 9, landing a safe distance from the human outpost. The landscape was stark, rocky terrain dotted with abandoned mining equipment under a hazy, purple sky. Looks deserted, Sevex observed as they surveyed the outpost through macro binoculars. The facility was built into the side of a mountain, a series of interconnected structures that appeared weathered and dormant. Too deserted, Arcessa murmured. Her perception enhancers weren't registering any significant air displacement patterns. No visible defenses. No patrol patterns. They're either gone or hidden. Kuldorn sniffed the air. Something's wrong. This feels like a trap, Valgar finished. Exactly what Gravan described. They established a perimeter and deployed reconnaissance drones, small, stealthy devices programmed to map the facility and identify life signs. The data they returned was troubling. Security systems have been disabled, Kuldorn reported with a frown. But not damaged. Deactivated. Professionally. From the inside, Arcessa added. They're inviting us in. Sevex's confidence finally wavered. Why would they do that? To hunt us at their leisure, Valgar said grimly. Despite every instinct screaming danger, they advanced toward the facility. The entrance, a large cargo bay door, stood partially open. Inside was darkness, the emergency lighting casting long shadows across empty corridors. Sevex knelt to examine markings on the floor. Weapons discharge. Recent. He rubbed the residue between his fingers. Gunpowder. Primitive, but effective. Definitely human. Move quietly, Valgar ordered. Standard formation. Arcessa, take point. Kuldorn, rearguard. Sevex, stay close to me. They moved deeper into the facility, passing abandoned laboratories and living quarters. Everything appeared to have been vacated in haste. Personal belongings left behind. Research equipment still running on auxiliary power. Arcessa suddenly froze, raising a hand. Movement ahead. 2 signatures. They ducked into a side corridor as 2 figures passed at the intersection ahead. Mercenaries like themselves, not humans. But something was wrong. They moved mechanically, weapons ready, but eyes vacant. Bait, Arcessa whispered. They're being used to draw us out. Before they could retreat, a sharp crack echoed through the corridor. One of the mercenaries fell, a small hole in his forehead, leaking fluid. The other continued walking as if nothing had happened. Sniper, Cull Dorn hissed. Extreme precision. A second crack, and the remaining mercenary collapsed. Then silence. Back to the ship, Valgar ordered. Now! They hadn't taken 3 steps when the lights went out completely. In the sudden darkness, Arcessa's perception enhancers detected multiple air displacement patterns converging on their position. They're here, she warned, surrounding us. The first attack came from above. 2 of their supplementary mercenaries dropped without a sound, necks broken by assailants who seemed to materialize from the ceiling. Fall back, Valgar shouted, firing his plasma rifle at movement in the shadows. Defensive positions. Cull Dorn unleashed a barrage from his heavy cannon, illuminating the corridor in brief flashes. In those strobing moments, they caught glimpses of their attackers, human figures in dark combat gear, moving with unnatural speed and coordination. Sevex panicked, firing wildly. There's too many. No, Arcessa contradicted, her enhanced senses cutting through the chaos. There are 5. Just 5. 5 against their remaining 8. Yet somehow they were losing. Another mercenary fell, then another. They retreated desperately, finally finding relative safety in an old storage room with a single entrance that Cull Dorn could cover with his cannon. Inside, Valgar slammed his fist against the wall. Rule number 1, he growled. Never take contracts against human special forces. Sevex cowered in the corner. His youthful arrogance evaporated. I'm sorry, he whispered. I didn't know. Now you do, Arcessa said without sympathy. She was tending to a wound on her arm where a bullet had grazed her. Cull Dorn kept his weapon trained on the door. What now, boss? Fight to the death. Valgar shook his head. We find a way out. This isn't our fight anymore. The Transaurians will blacklist us, Sevex reminded him. Better blacklisted than dead. Valgar activated his tactical display, searching for escape routes. A voice suddenly echoed through the facility's communication system. Calm, measured, human. Attention, mercenary team. This is Commander Reyes of the Terran Special Operations Unit. You are surrounded with no viable exit. I'm offering you a single opportunity to surrender. Sevex looked hopefully at Valgar. We should accept. Wait, Arcessa cautioned. She had connected to a terminal in the storage room and was rapidly sifting through data. Something isn't right. This facility is not what we were told. Elaborate, Valgar demanded. It's a containment site, she explained, eyes widening as she read. For experimental technology. Temporal manipulation research. Cull Dorn growled. The Transaurians didn't send us to eliminate insurgents. They sent us to steal time technology. Worse, Arcessa continued. According to these logs, the humans aren't insurgents at all. They're a security detail protecting the technology from theft. We've been manipulated into being test subjects. The voice returned to the comm system. Your employers have misled you. The Transaurian Syndicate has sent 3 teams before you. None survived. You're simply the latest distraction while they attempt to breach our lower levels. Valgar approached the communication panel. If what you say is true, why offer surrender? Why not eliminate us like the others? Because unlike them, you haven't fired on my people directly, Reyes replied. Your retreat suggests you might possess the rare quality of wisdom. Arcessa pulled Valgar aside. He's telling the truth. The Transaurians are using us as cannon fodder. I found their real infiltration team. They're already accessing the lower levels while we're keeping the humans occupied. Valgar cursed in his native tongue. Then he made a decision. Commander Reyes, he spoke clearly into the comm. We're terminating our contract with the Transaurian Syndicate. We have information about their actual infiltration team that may be of value to you. A pause. Proceed. They have a specialized team breaching containment level 3 via the maintenance shafts. Their objective appears to be a device codenamed Kronos. Another pause. This information is accurate based on our monitoring. Why the change of heart, mercenary? We don't appreciate being used as disposable distractions, Valgar growled. And we respect opponents worthy of fear. Smart, Reyes responded. Here are my terms. Remain where you are. Do not interfere. When this matter is concluded, you may leave, provided you carry a message to the mercenary community. What message? The same one Gravan was meant to deliver. Human special forces are not to be trifled with. The communication cut out. Valgar turned to his team. We wait. For the next hour, distant sounds of combat echoed through the facility. Occasional weapons fire, explosions, and once a scream that made even Cole Dorn shudder. Finally, silence fell. The lights returned to normal power levels. The door to their hideout slid open to reveal Commander Reyes in person. He was unremarkable by human standards. Average height, athletic build, features neither handsome nor plain. The only notable aspect was his eyes, cold, calculating, and utterly devoid of fear. The Transaurian infiltration team has been neutralized, he stated matter-of-factly. You may depart. Valgar studied him cautiously. Just like that, Reyes confirmed. Though I suggest haste. This facility will be undergoing purge protocols within 2 hours. Purge protocols? Sevex echoed nervously. Complete sterilization, Reyes clarified. Nothing survives. They needed no further encouragement. Gathering their remaining team members, only 5 of their original 10 survived. They prepared to leave. As they passed Reyes at the door, the human commander held out a small device. For the Transaurians, he said, when they demand explanation for your failure. Valgar accepted it cautiously. What is it? Evidence of their treachery. And a warning. Reyes's expression remained neutral. The next team they send won't be offered surrender. They made their way back through the facility unchallenged. Human soldiers stood at intervals along their route, weapons lowered but ready. None spoke. None needed. 2. Their presence alone communicated all that was necessary. Outside, they quickened their pace toward their ship, half expecting a bullet in the back at any moment. But they reached the vessel unmolested and wasted no time in takeoff procedures. As they broke atmosphere, a message came through on their secure channel. The Transaurian representative, no longer smiling. You have failed, the metallic face accused, and betrayed us to the humans. The consequences will be severe. Valgar activated the device Reyes had given him. It projected a holographic recording of the Transaurian leadership discussing their true plans, using mercenary teams as sacrificial distractions while their specialists stole the temporal technology. The consequences go both ways, Valgar replied. Human special forces now have evidence of your attempted theft. Perhaps you should worry less about us and more about them. The Transaurian's expression shifted from anger to fear. The transmission cut abruptly. In the quiet of their ship, Sevex approached Valgar. I was wrong, the young Kilratha admitted. My arrogance nearly got us all killed. But it didn't, Valgar said. And now you understand rule number 1. Never take contracts against human special forces, Sevex recited with newfound respect. Spread the word, Arcessa added. Others should know. Kuldorn grunted in agreement. Those humans, they could have killed us all. Instead, they let us go to deliver a message. That's the point, Valgar realized. They want the message spread. They want potential enemies to fear them. Fear is their most effective weapon. As their ship accelerated toward the jump point, Valgar considered the human strategy. It was brilliant in its simplicity. By allowing occasional survivors to spread tales of their prowess, they created a reputation that deterred most threats before they materialized. Set course for Nexus Station, he ordered. I think we owe Gravan a drink. 3 weeks later, in that same dingy bar on the outer ring, Valgar and his team shared their experience with a group of wide-eyed mercenaries. The story had already spread throughout the community, growing with each retelling. Some dismissed it as exaggeration. Others took it as gospel. Bronek served drinks with a knowing look. Rule number 1, he reminded them. Rule number 1, Valgar agreed, raising his glass. At the bar's entrance, a mercenary Captain Valgar didn't recognize was speaking with a potential client. Though he couldn't hear the full conversation, one phrase carried clearly across the room. Double your offer and triple the team size, and I still wouldn't take a contract against human special forces. Valgar smiled grimly. The message was spreading. And somewhere on a hidden base, Commander Reyes and his team continued their silent vigil, their reputation doing what additional soldiers never could, deterring threats before they emerged. In the darkest corners of space, there are many dangers. But for those who survived long enough to learn, one rule stood above all others. Never take contracts against human special forces. The lucky ones learned it secondhand. The rest never got to learn at all.